Yeah, Silent Hill TDS, what's up? Yeah, come on. I.O.W. Sports Network, late night edition. Let's go. Come on.
We about to raise the bar. Wild card mark. Everybody grab a seat, cause you know we about to spark. Late night sports talk. Modelo Le Cigar. Man, you don't wanna start. Wild card mark. We about to raise the bar. Wild card mark. Everybody grab a seat, cause you know we about to spark. Late night sports talk. Modelo Le Cigar. Man, you don't wanna start. Wild card mark. Hey. L Boogie with the hot flame, ashtray full of top names, little tree for your membrane. This the 9-hour time frame. I just snatched up a 6-pack, got my hands on a lid pack, whipping up a little batch of snacks. Yeah, man, I think I'm all set. Late night, can't sleep. Go ahead and just tap in. Better grab you a cold one, and we about to get some laps in. Wild card on the microphone, he'll hit you with a couple flurries. Y'all need to just strap in for some entertainment sports commentary. About to raise the bar, wild card bar. Everybody grab a seat, cause you know we about to spark. Late night sports talk, Modelo Le Cigar. Man, you don't wanna start. Wild card bar, we about to raise the bar. Wild card bar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We raising the bar, raising the bar. What's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of I.O.W. Sports Show, Late Night Owl Edition. It's your man, Wakamar in the building. Of course, if it's Taco Tuesday, I'm joined here with the one and the only. Hey, that is. He told you so. It's the man with the Grandmaster plan, Randy Weber. What's up, man? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. And you know why I'm doing good? Because I told them so.
You told them so, bro. They don't listen, bro.
They don't listen.
You don't listen. You gotta open up your ears and listen. For real, man. No, pleasure to be here with you, my brother, as always. Hey, man. Hey, tonight's show is going to be real straightforward, straight to the point. So hopefully about an hour and some change, under an hour. Try to give you an hour max for sure. And we'll flap our gums about some good old sports stuff. Obviously, between now and last Tuesday, the NBA trade deadline passed. Some trades that me and Randy did not get to cover. That happened the following day. That Wednesday that went down before the deadline and everything. We'll kind of talk about some of those trades that went down. NBA, obviously, with the NFL coming to an end, chance to focus your eyes on a lot of basketball. Obviously, Winter Olympics are going on right now. I kind of got that in the background. It's a background noise. Some curling. All right, hey, say what you want. Love some curling. All right. Baseball. I don't know if people watch baseball as much as I do, but shout out to my Royals. Pitchers and catchers reported in spring training today, so that's going on in full swing. But hey, y'all know what it is, man. We got to put a final pin in the 2025-2026 NFL regular season. Our postseason comes in. Super Bowl was this past Sunday. The fallout from that, hey man, and that's part of the reason why Randy told you so. That Super Bowl pretty much went down as a lot of people expected. No surprise that the Seahawks won. No surprise in the way that the Patriots offense looked, Randy. How about we start right here? We'll get to the champs because the champs get all the time in the world. Matter of fact, they'll get a whole offseason to talk about them. Patriots. I'm just looking at a good defense that tried their best to do a carry job that they've been doing all postseason. They just weren't able to do it in this one because the opposing team's offense is at least, competent enough to put up solid points. This defense of the Patriots, the only thing they didn't do was get turnovers. That's the only thing they didn't do. I mean, I don't know what else you could have asked from them on the defensive side. Now, when it comes to the offensive side, yeah, I got questions. You took a rookie in the first round named Will Campbell at left tackle. I think you found your left guard. I think you might have found a right guard. Hell, you might want to try him at right tackle, and that's still even questionable. He's not your left tackle.
So, yeah, I mean, I had said that as well as the defense had played throughout the playoffs, I thought that it was heavily inflated by the fact that they were playing, just to recap, Justin Herbert behind third string O lineman, CJ Stroud having a meltdown, and also behind the worst healthy offensive line, and then Jared Stidham in a snowstorm. And so, while I thought they did their job, I do think that significantly inflated them. I actually thought, despite not having the production of those games, this was the best showcase of how good the defense actually is, because they were going against a real offense that was competent. And they did hold them out of the red zone for the majority of the game. They held them to a ton of field goals before the AJ Barner touchdown. And I mean, Kenneth Walker had obviously a great game, which is why he was Super Bowl MVP. That Super Bowl MVP could have gone to, honestly, a lot of players on that team. Like Jason Myers had a legitimate argument for it, setting up
like a lot of people,
record.
Of course, for the kicker.
Right. I've heard a lot of people that a defensive player should have gotten it. Like, if they'd given it to Spoon or maybe Julian Love, I wouldn't have been mad at all. But that was so much of a group effort that maybe that's why they didn't want to pick a defensive player. But anyway, so the Patriots defense played well enough that if the offense had come to play, they could have squeaked out a win. But I mean, the offense did not come to play, and the offense played like they played in all of the postseason. They didn't do anything differently. They sucked in all three of those games, and now this one. The only difference is that they were playing against a team who had a competent enough offense to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
So I think it's been very obviously a Fugazi run. They had no business being in the Super Bowl. It was clearly obvious that absolute satanic magic was at work. And the problem is now, if you're the Patriots, I don't think you look at this team and think, we're definitely going to be back to the Super Bowl next year, next 2 years. Because this team is not a great team. Drake May looked really good in the regular season. The receiving core is thin. Stephon Diggs might not be on the team next year. I mean, and we'll get to why that is. Offensive line still has a ton of questions. Like, we're talking about Will Campbell, who had a solid-ish season in the regular season, but has not been great in the postseason either. And then the defense, which is the strength of the team, there are even questions there. They still need a real edge. I don't look at this team and be like, this is a loaded defense, the way that the Seahawks defense is, the way the Texans defense is, the way the Broncos defense is. Like, there's still work to do on that side of the ball too. So you're not looking at this team, which is going to have a much harder schedule next year, and say, we're definitely getting back there. Now you're also drafting low because you made it to the Super Bowl. So it's not like you're getting a bunch of blue chippers to fill spots. I don't know how great this is. One of the weirdest Super Bowl making teams for a lot of those reasons, because it was so fugazi that I'm just at this point, I am rubbing it in, but I'm also just being honest that you look at this and you're like, what do we do now to win our ring? Because you have a ton of cap space. They're going to have to address a lot of it in free agency, but outside free agency is like the one way they could really ensure this team, but it's not in a great position to make it all the way back there. I'm still not sure if you know what you have in Drake May, because he was one vote away from winning MVP, and he was also statistically one of the worst postseason quarterbacks in NFL history. Yeah. And I don't know what you do with that.
Yeah, that's a tough one to deal with if you're a Patriots fan, because you're like, yeah, I love what you did in the regular season, but man, that was just gut wrenching to watch during the postseason.
He had the second worst EPA in the postseason of the 21st century.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good.
And and in the Super Bowl. So do you really? I'm sure Drake May is going to be a good quarterback. Is he going to ever be a Super Bowl winning quarterback? Is this the closest he'll ever get to winning a Super Bowl? I think there's a serious conversation there, unless they really load up the roster around him.
Can I give Drake May a little pitch him a little hell right here? Just pitch him a little bell. I'm a bell him out a little bit.
Okay.
That left side, because it just wasn't Will Campbell that was getting beat. It's that whole left side. that his left guard was over there getting whiffed and getting put on a front page news on missing. His pass protection wasn't great, so the whole left side, when you literally got a left guard and a left tackle, he's literally just looking at whole left side in every play as soon as he says hike, because he's like, all right, I gotta find the pass rush, because I know exactly what side it's coming from. So I will say, if you get a better performance from your O-line, I think you definitely get a different Drake May. I will also say this. I thought Josh McDaniels, who won Assistant of the Year, as well as Mike Vrabel won Coach of the Year. So you sweep the coaching categories in the awards, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. So earn those motherfucking awards. How does Josh McDaniels, who's been bloated as this great offensive coordinator, he's been part of the whole Patriots dynasty, and he's great, and look at all the opportunities he's always okay. So the way that you made zero adjustments shows me exactly why Tom Brady was so important to the success of that dynasty. And I don't know if it was necessarily of any offensive coaching.
I do. Yeah, this was not a great coaching performance from them. I do think up until
it was terrible. This was terrible.
Yes, I agree. Up until the Super Bowl, I think the coaching was very good from the both of them, but this was not a good coaching job. Mike Macdonald, who does not have the coaching experience that either of them do, absolutely outcoached their asses.
He coached and look, I understand there's a disparity in talent-wise if you're looking at these rosters. Yes. I understand that, and that'll be glaring. But I'm not going to say the margin is that damn wide that the gap couldn't have been closed by the actual experience of Mike Vrabel. For one, being in a Super Bowl numerous times as a player, so he knows the experience of being in a Super Bowl and how to deal with it. Or just him being he's been a coach before with the Titans, been at the AFC Championship game, so he's already had the experience over McDonald. So I'm just kind of looking at coaching staff wise, the favor should have been in Patriots corner, but it didn't look like that. It was just outclassed.
Yeah,
Patriots fumbled this one.
And also to the whole coaching situation, I know that they say that the awards are sent in before the postseason starts. I don't know, because obviously Vrabel and McDaniel had strong cases for winning both of those awards for the regular season, right? Doesn't it seem a little weird to you that, given that Vrabel basically has the exact same argument that Ben Johnson does and that Liam Cohen does, for him to end up being the winner and his team to be the one that's in the Super Bowl, and McDaniel to be the winner and for his team to be the one in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Would that not be a basically three-way split between those, almost the exact same argument between all three in the regular season?
Well, I'm just looking at something. Don't get me wrong. They had 4 wins last year. They get to the Super Bowl. You obviously got to give them some kind of praise and credit because, obviously, Here's the the glaring change is the coaching change between
Of
Gerard
course.
and,
But-
and and Mike Vrabel. But what I'm
But getting to the Super Bowl is not supposed to count. It's just supposed to be regular season.
exactly that's my biggest point. So when they announced that he won, I was actually kind of taken back by it, is because, for one, how can you not recognize the fact in a rookie head coach in Liam Cohen, who took a 4-13 team and turned them around to 13-4? How is that getting trumped by what Vrabel did? And secondly, how do you overlook the fact of what Kyle Shanahan did with the 49ers team?
Yes.
I was willing to concede and push aside Liam Cohen as a rookie head coach to get his team to 13 wins in his rookie season and win the division and get them to a playoffs. I was ready to push him to the side for what Kyle Shanahan did with the injury-riddled team that he did and getting them to a divisional round. And literally had home field advantage in the palm of his hand week 18, and they just couldn't seal the deal.
Right,
So,
against the eventual Super Bowl champions.
Super Bowl champions, exactly. So my thing is like, how do you trump those two coaches for Vrabel? I understand the turnaround, but I'm looking at the scenario. He's been a coach before. He's had a 12-win season with the Titans. He knows success as a coach. He's done something that, quite honestly, I was expecting of him to do, was to make this a more competitive team. Is he probably 2 or 3 years ahead of schedule? Absolutely. But he did exactly what I was expecting Mike Vrabel to do, was to turn around and bring the allure of the Patriots way back to the building. I expected this.
Yeah, no, and Shanahan was my coach of the year, but I think Vrabel, Johnson, or Cohen, and Johnson being my preseason. Johnson was my preseason prediction, so I would have loved for him to have won it. But any of those four would have been absolutely fine choices. McDonald, also a fine choice. I think Sean Payton had a legitimate claim.
Yes.
Like, very packed coach of the year.
Competitive
Field. The only reason I'm even making a note of it being Vrabel is that I don't necessarily think Vrabel had a stronger argument than Johnson or Cohen, because their arguments were essentially all the same, in that they turned around weak teams in a very short amount of time. Now, what might have split the difference is the seeding, because the Patriots were the 2 seed, the Jaguars and the Bears were, I think, both the 3 seed. That might have been the split the difference for the voters. But I mean, that you have to factor in the schedule to that, right? So I don't know. I would have given it to Shanahan over any of them, but I think it's fine. I think it's just a little weird that they wait to announce it right before the Super Bowl, and it just so happens to in line with
the
playoff results.
Now, I will say this: I'm not a big fan of the closeness, if that's even a word, of the MVP vote between him and Drake May. I don't even think it shouldn't even been that close. That's just me.
Yeah.
But imagine that they gave that damn award to Drake May and he went out there and performed in the Super Bowl. That he did.
Would have been rough. That would have been so rough. No, I'm sure they're glad in hindsight that they gave it to Stafford, who didn't make it as far, but actually looked like an NFL quarterback in his loss.
Well, I mean, and that brings me to my main point. What's going on, folks? How we doing tonight? That brings me to my main point about the Patriots, especially when it comes to Josh McDaniels. I'm not saying that Drake May is Matthew Stafford, and I'm not saying anything you have reflects a Devontae Adams or a Puka Nacua or a Blake Corum or a Curran Wentz. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you have a Rams offense in your belly. But what I am saying is that at some point you, as a offensive coach, should have been looking at, hey, let me look at the teams that were able to move the football on this defense. And the first team that comes to my mind is the Rams. Obviously, no, I'm not expecting you to be Sean McVay. Not at all. What I am saying is for you to be bloated as this quote unquote, oh, such a great offensive coordinator and coach of football and this and that. I mean, you couldn't come up with any kind of game plan that reflected anything that could have got you somewhat of some type of success that I'd have been replicating what Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay been doing easily. You got to replicate things that work well against that type of defense. And obviously, I'm just saying, the
only reason they even got a touchdown is because the Seahawks defense softened up because of their lead, right? Like that's how bad it was for them.
If we're being honest, and let's switch it to the Seahawks equation of this. If we're being honest, this should have looked like the Patriots Broncos Super Bowl that they had. This should have been a real actual blowout. If we're being honest,
for sure. And they even picked it back up at the end, and it started looking more like a blowout again. It was just that period in the early fourth quarter when the Patriots kind of got some stat padding licks in. Exactly.
We agree with you. We agree with you on that
one. I mean, the score doesn't really actually show just how much of an ass beating it was. Like, it was even worse than it looks like. They didn't have a chance at all.
No, it was literally this is how I really felt about the Seahawks as we get to them on this side of the equation of the Super Bowl. They were fine taking the field goals because they're looking like we're not worried about that offense. They were fine taking the field goals. And I will say this. If there are any football people who talk football, the football content, want to be credible, you're an analyst, you're a journalist, you're on TV, you write about it, whatever you do. If you think that you have questions about Sam Darnold, at this point I'm willing to say like you really got to let it go. I think I'll say this. It does make a difference in coaching, and this is the true example of it. It makes a difference in not only coaching, organization, culture, all that shit. This is the true example of why it matters. Because this is now 2 years in a row that Sam Darnold has quarterbacked the team to 14 plus wins. And to do that in consecutive years in two different organizations, and you're the common denominator, I'm going to look at you a certain type of way. Just saying. I'm going to look at you a certain type of way. And if you look at this game, if you go by numbers, the numbers are not going to wow you. But if you look at the game, are there some throws that I think Sam missed? And obviously, if he wants those back, yes. There's some money he left on the table. All right. And that's some of the part of what I'm talking about. This score should have been a blowout because some of those drives that ended in field goals, if they actually make a couple throws here and there where Sam makes a couple connections, he did miss JSN wide open on that breakout, that coverage blown, and he's just standing there wide open by himself. If he gathers himself and doesn't get too anxious and doesn't overthrow him, that's a walk-in touchdown. So there's another touchdown off the board. There was a couple of throws that I wish Sam would have made for sure, but especially first drive, I was very impressed with the first drive. There was a couple of throws in that first drive. I'm like, oh, Sam throwing in some tight windows, and he's flinging that rock. And I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. So he wasn't scared. He did put it in some dangerous spots, but I will say overall he played smart football. There was a couple of times where he could have taken the sack and he's just thrown it away when nothing was open. And I'm like, that's smart play. Lift it down. And so he played smart, managed the game, football. Don't fuck it up. I got a fucking world-class defense that's going to bring it home to me, and that's all I got to do. And he did it. So
exactly. That was the difference between him and all the other offenses that the Patriots went against. He played clean football, didn't turn the ball over. I actually thought that because Darnold was actually pressured a lot. Drake May and Darnold were both pressured a lot. And the Seahawks recorded 6 sacks against Drake May, and the Patriots only recorded 1. And if you look at it, a lot of that was Sam Darnold extending plays with his legs, knowing when to throw the ball away. Yeah, evading, which is not something he's known for, but he did a really good job evading and extending those plays to get the ball out.
There was a couple of joints. I was like, yo, he's dead to rights. And next thing you know, he did a little dip or something and swiveled out. And I'm like, what the hell did this come from?
Yeah, exactly. No, so I think that he played well. And also, shout out to John Schneider, because I, like a lot of people, didn't have high expectations of the Seahawks because I didn't have high expectations of Sam Darnold. I thought that, especially given all the narrative around Kevin O'Connell, that like, oh, he looked that good for the first time ever because he was in that offense with Kevin O'Connell. And it turned out that no, it was actually Sam Darnold out of nowhere. And shout out to John Schneider, because he's done this twice now. He moved from Russell Wilson to Geno Smith, and everybody thought that the Seahawks had made a quarterback downgrade. And it turned out that Geno Smith ascended and Russell Wilson declined. And now he moved from Geno Smith to Sam Darnold. A lot of people thought the exact same thing, and it turned out he was right again. He knows when to move off of quarterbacks. He knows how to draft. He runs a really good front office that has been successful in moves that are kind of like, I remember I talked about, was on this show, and I was just like, a lot of these moves are kind of head scratching. Like, why are they getting rid of their receivers? You know, why are they doing this and that? And, you know, it worked. Like it really worked. I didn't see it coming, but it did work. Yeah. Now, my preseason predictions weren't high for the Patriots, and they, you know, drastically went past my expectations as well by getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I think, unlike the Seahawks, there are still more questions. I think if you're this Patriots team, you look at that roster and you think that I know that you said that you expected Vrabel to make the Patriots more competitive. I think most people did. I was very skeptical because I thought that this roster was not up to that. And I still think that's the case. And I don't know what like, if you look at this team, I think you need a wide receiver 1. I think you need an edge 1. I think you need safeties. I think you need more O-line. Like, I don't think that this is a complete team. And, I think you're looking at two very different, we're done with the season situations now.
Without a doubt. Look, it sounds great to say this. I know you were just in the Super Bowl a few days ago. You should be worried because I agree with you, Randy. I just think there's you made it to the Super Bowl on a incomplete team that caught fire and some luck at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I feel about the Patriots. I think you're way ahead of schedule. I think you're 2 to 3 years ahead of schedule. Because we saw Vrabel do this in Tennessee. It took him a minute. Then he gets to the AFC Championship game with the 12-win season, and then 2 years later, he's out. So
this looks like a team that could be in that similar situation. They could be similar to what the Commanders, where like they had this hot start, nobody expected it. They went way past what anybody expected of them, and then they come down to earth next season. That would be my bet, unless they make some serious moves in free agency.
That first place schedule they about to see next year. Yeah, they're definitely about to come back down to earth.
And I don't know what's going on with Diggs, but they're gonna have to figure that whole situation out, or seriously replace him.
I don't think they move him, because when they got him, they went ahead and gave him some money up front. And so
I know they gave it to him for a few years. There's always issues with him, and he is older, like, and he is injury prone. Like, I still think you need another receiver. I don't think you rely on Stephon Diggs as your answer for your Drake May window. That's my opinion.
Oh no. If you ask me, I think the only thing that's locked down and you don't have question marks, but you actually kind of still do have question marks, is Christian Gonzalez is the only question mark. And what I mean by question mark is You worry about his durability, but he's the only thing that you really don't worry about on the page.
Yeah,
right
he's
now.
the only player that is absolutely as good as he's looked.
Yeah. And Anthony brings up a great point. And that's why, to your point, Randy, that's why you get another wide receiver, because you can't rely on just Stephon Diggs, who is getting older. He's 31, about to be 32, something like that. And that's your number one option. They love Kayvon Booty. He's solid, but you're not game planning for him.
No. Kayshon Boutte is not a serious threat. Like he had some good plays in the playoffs and all of that. Like I don't think he's certainly not a bad receiver, but like he's not your answer.
No,
outside of Stephon Diggs.
Game plan for him, and
also to the players without a question mark. Milton Williams also deserves a shout out. He's also really good.
Yes.
But like,
yeah, you just put him on the field. You're like, yeah, just do what you do, bro.
right. But no, exactly. You have much more question marks than a team that was just in the Super Bowl should have. And I don't know what they do about that. But shout out to the Seahawks. Also, what did you think of the halftime show?
Oh,
honestly, this is a very boring Super Bowl, and I came away with it thinking, surprisingly, the halftime show was the most entertaining part. And I feel like a casual or like someone's girlfriend that's on her phone the whole time when I say that.
Yeah.
But it really was.
Hey, I'm just gonna say this. I took Spanish when I was in high school, so about 4 years right there. I did another year in college, my freshman year in college. So that's 5 years of Spanish. All right. Now, mind you, I got about like 25 years of culinary experience, like in the kitchen. So, that is a industry that is well known to have Hispanic people in the kitchen. So, there's about 25 years of knowing kitchen Spanish. That's a different Spanish, just so you know. That's the kitchen Spanish and Spanish are two different Spanishes. Just so. All right.
So that's Spanish, yes.
So if you just don't know, I'm letting you know it's different. All right. By all means, I am not fluent. All right, but I can catch some words and I can at least communicate with Spanish speaking people enough that we can get the job done, whatever needs to get done. Like if I need something, like I can at least communicate it enough that they can reciprocate it and vice versa. So whatever. But I know vibes. I love music. All right. It don't matter what it is. If it gets the body moving, I love it. All right. So, hey, shoulders was moving. All right. The hips was moving. All right. I didn't know a damn word. I caught some. I caught a little bit. Caught, from time to time. It don't matter, man. I caught the vibes. The vibes was there, bro. Bad Bunny did a fantastic job. Him and his crew did a great, phenomenal show. I mean, look, I know the controversy, whatever. Oh, we got to get an alternative. You didn't have to, but regardless, if you're a heterosexual male, I don't know why you didn't want to watch this. I'm just saying, like,
yeah, no, for sure. I also know like a little bit like conversational Spanish, not a lot either. I also worked in a kitchen with a lot of Latinos, was with a Mexican woman for years. Like I know some, but yeah, no, I mean I didn't know that much of the language either. But yeah, no, it was a great party. And also I as the political rights, as MAGA's political consultant, I really hope that they continue to establish a political dividing line that against football, Bad Bunny, and twerking Latinas. I think that's going to be great for maintaining the demographics that helped Trump win in 2024. I think they should keep doing that. I think they should say, we are so racist that you're not allowed to have twerking Latinas and Bad Bunny. You are now only allowed to have Kid Rock and that crying guy who wanted to cut his grass and kiss his fish. And that's your entertainment now. I think that'll be great for bringing in numbers in 2028 for the Republican Party. So
that's crazy. I'd rather see Kid Rock run around with his old ass off the same song that was popping at the 1999 MTV Video Music Awards. That you still living off of that song. Congratulations on that, but it's like,
yeah. I mean, he thinks statutory is mandatory.
Apparently, yeah, you got some rare fishy.
He's in the right party for that.
Yeah, look, I don't subscribe to the political bullshit of anything because I think politics is a very disgusting world that is very manipulative, very backstabbish, cliquish, all that shit, fake. It's not real. So I'm not subscribing to any of this shit. I just like, can you entertain me or not in a halftime show? And this entertain me, point blank, period. All right. That's the only thing I ask for. I don't care what genre of music you're from. Because when Shakira was there, she was singing in Spanish. I didn't, some of it was. I didn't, but I guess when you were Latina rump shaking and you bring out J-Lo, they don't give a damn. But so they weren't told to be mad about it this year. They were told to be mad about it, so now they're mad about it. That's always what it is. And look, be mad, cool, have your right. You didn't want to watch it, cool. I enjoyed it. I saw a lot of ass shaking from some very beautiful women, and I was trying to make sure that I didn't get smacked upside the head for my wife from gawking too hard. That's the only thing I did. All right, so I enjoyed the halftime show. Probably a lot more than I enjoyed the football game.
Facts, yeah. No, for real, nothing but field goals for 3 quarters. I mean, I was waiting for Bad Bunny.
Like, geez, yeah. At that point, I was like, shit, just hurry up and bring on Bad Bunny, because, I can. And obviously, we kind of talked about it too. I will say that obviously, I think our infatuation for Bad Bunny is different because we are wrestling fans and we've seen the entertainment value that he does bring.
Just as a funny point, also, because I was just talking to a coworker about this recently. She's Latina. She's a big Bad Bunny fan. Since first ever seeing him, because my first ever seeing him was in wrestling.
Yeah.
And I always had the impression that he was a crazy short guy, like very short. And then she pulls it up. It's just like, oh, he's like 5'11", like he's like an inch shorter than me. And then I realized, I thought that he was short because he was standing next to Damian Priest all the time.
Yeah, and Damian's like 6'3". 6'4".
Yeah, he's crazy tall. So it's funny seeing Bad Bunny in another context and being like, oh, you're like a regular sized man.
Man, that's crazy. I think that might have been the first time I was exposed to Bad Bunny, and then I kind of like, oh, he's the most streamed artist. I'm like, well,
yeah. No, his music's popping. Like I don't even understand all of it either, and like his songs are popping. He had an album last year. That album's popping. He did a lot of that for the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah. Hey, at the end of the day, he knows how to make a move the needle internationally, and he's an international star.
And I was gonna say, just also, yeah.
little T-Rex arms.
It's also smart, like the Kendrick halftime show, because he's my favorite artist. It's obviously going to be my favorite halftime show. But it was also smart for the NFL to do this, that people don't realize they've been trying to internationalize for years now. They're like the only American sport that doesn't have much international reach. And since then, they've been having games in Latin America, in Europe, and like this is just a part of that. Like,
Randy.
It's smart business.
Randy, we should see. This is why I think people are sleeping on watching our content is because they just don't want the real. I think people just don't want the truth. All right. It was always about that. It was never about this political bullshit. So I guess Turning Point wanted to get their part in it, and Turning Point is being smart on making their presence known in society, so they're not stupid market wise neither, because controversy always makes cash.
They ironically probably added to the view count of the Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime show by making it a political issue.
And the crazy,
it's now the most viewed Super Bowl halftime show, and like obviously would have been viewed a lot, especially because of the numbers increased in Latin America, but like turning it into a political dividing line probably helped the NFL.
More, yeah, it did. And look at it this, and again, I'm not political, but I will say this for all you Trump supporters: if you want to support him, that's your personal prerogative. But for you crazed Trumpers that go crazy, say, "Oh, yeah, I'm with him too. I'm not gonna watch it," and then Trump's literally watching the Bad Bunny halftime show. So you literally are going so above and beyond to glaze this man, and he makes you look stupid because he's literally watching it. Mm-hmm. And saying all whatever negative stuff that he wants to say, but he's literally watching it. So he can't. I need people to understand. So right now there's a counter, all right, on our StreamYard account. Y'all may not be able to see it, or you won't be able to see it. Primarily, I can see it. I don't know if Randy can, but it gives us a count of people who are really watching it. And you know what it says? It just tells us who's watching. It doesn't tell us if you're watching out of hate, if you're watching out of love, or you're watching for background noise, or you're watching for whatever purpose. It doesn't tell us that. You know why? Because it doesn't fucking matter. It just shows us that you're watching. Mm-hmm. It just shows us that you're watching. For whatever purpose it is, it doesn't fucking matter. You're watching. And for you to go crazy above and beyond to follow the man, and for him to be so negative, for him to sit there and literally watch it in front of your face, you should be offended. And the fact that you aren't really says more about you.
Why does my president get to enjoy twerking Latinas and I'm not allowed to? Because he told me not to. all the MAGA men revolt.
I missed out on the twerking Latinas. That's one of my favorite searches on the internet. Like, and I missed out on that. You damn right. You goofy. But no. Look, I didn't need to know. And the crazy thing is, it's not just MAGA. It's some of our own skin folk that are talking crazy about the performance. So, that needs to be said. I'm gonna put it out there. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Yeah, it's goofy as hell. Like we're all Black people, Latinos. We all have the same struggle. Like we should be uniting. We should not be doing dumb infighting. It's stupid. And like for the MAGA Black folk, like they're in that same camp. But for the Black folk that aren't MAGA, who are turning anti-Latino now,
again, I'm just gonna put it like this: they had a burger at the Super Bowl that's $180. ICE can't. They ain't getting the people at the Super Bowl. Them people are not there. Right? The people that ICE are looking for are not at the Super Bowl. All right.
Well, I don't know if just because someone's undocumented doesn't mean that they.
No. I'm talking about the people that ICE are targeting are not at the Super Bowl. That is a different world. The Super. All right, I'll put it to you like this: the Super Bowl is at a point where it is now corporate driven to maximize dollars, appearances, things like that. It's a spectacle now. It's not it's priced out that football fans, fanatics like you and me have to literally break an arm and a leg to go to. It's that's what I'm saying. And when the people who ICE are targeting are in our class and below, as in we common folk, so they're targeting common folk.
ICE probably, if they could have been there, they probably would have been there just for the purpose of advancing as the political statement that they've been. I mean, like Minneapolis, like the everything they've been doing in Minnesota and Minneapolis has been for the point of making a broader political statement against a blue state. That's probably what they would have done there too.
True. And California is probably one of the bluest states you can ever be at. So
right. Exactly. Yeah.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Yeah.
But just to bring it back to this, I will say this: I did love the message, overall message. Only thing that can beat hate is love. So I love the message, obviously. He's wearing the shoulder pads and the football uniform. Kind of gave a story of his life being in Puerto Rico. So I did dig that. I love the actual people getting married in the joint. You come to figure that out. You come to find out he hands the Grammy to a kid that was detained by ICE, and has a lot of nuggets in there. A lot of nuggets in there.
I knew he gave it to a kid. I didn't know the kid had been detained by it. That's great. Like that's
at least that was reported. Of course, I can only go based off what's reported and whether you can take that with a grain of salt. But I thought the Bad Bunny did his thing. But let me ask you this, man: who if you were to pick, or let's just throw some names out there for future references, because obviously he's going to be back in LA next year. I mean, I don't know who really interests me to be the next halftime performer, man. I really don't know.
That's a good question.
I heard about that too.
Yeah. I saw that. That was funny as hell. For next year, so it would have to be someone that's like a big, because they were going for like old nostalgia acts for a while, and now they're going for like stars that are like on the top of the mainstream charts the past few years.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. I don't know who's like going to be the next big breakout. I know that.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm gonna look it up right now. Top streaming artists. Because I think you hit something. Not only are you talking about the top streaming artists, but the international part. And I thought that was a great point too, because they've been trying to. Obviously, Taylor Swift comes to mind.
Right, and I mean, if that ends up being Travis Kelce's last year, they might purposefully do that, which would be kind of cool. Even though I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but that would be a kind of cool thing.
Me neither, but I mean, when you're talking about an international artist, mainstream, she's at the top of the list. Her and Bad Bunny keep going back and forth year and year.
They could. I mean, Billie Eilish is another one who hasn't done it yet. I don't think they're gonna do Drake. I think they know that he's starting to go on the decline. Maybe. After the way the beef ended up and them calling him a pedophile at the last one, I think that's probably out.
They already did The Weeknd.
Yeah, they already did The Weeknd. I mean, some like the newer artists that are starting to get big. I know Leon Thomas is one. I don't know if you remember the show Victorious on Nickelodeon, but the dude from that show was nominated for Best New Artist, and he's been making some moves. That's probably a couple years out, but he might be someone to look at.
Yeah. They already did Bruno Mars. So I can hear you on a Billie Eilish, but I don't know enough of her music to really.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. I mean, I don't know. J. Cole's retiring, so that one probably is out. And I don't know if you've heard the new album, but it's awesome.
I did love. I've already ran it back all the way through twice.
So good. Yeah. I mean, there are probably a handful of them to choose from. They could also go back to a big nostalgia act, like a really famous rock band from like the 70s or 80s or whatever. Like they have options.
Oh, they got the odds.
Lil Wayne. Oh, that'd be cool. I would love a Wheezy halftime show. I mean, he's wanted one. He has wanted one.
Yeah, he might have wanted one, but I mean, look, when he didn't get it over Kendrick, I understood why. Because, like, I've been to a Wayne concert. All right. It's a lot of mumbling. All right. Look, I'm just gonna say,
Yeah.
you track on the wow. That's for bad boy. Look, I ain't trying to see that bullshit.
All right, okay. I don't know. I would pop off if a Millie played at the halftime show. That's just me. That's just me.
Now,
But
if he did an old school Wayne, like a whole melody when he went through like his whole career and kind of played a little snippet of, I mean, yeah, I still kind of geek because like don't get it twisted, I'm still a Wayne head. All right. Is just say, I take this new version of Lil Wayne with a grain of salt because he's different.
No, that's true. That is very true.
He a little different. So, but I look, I would still appreciate it. I don't know about ASAP Rocky. I don't know if he got the catalog for a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Cardi B, yeah, she'll get the
That might be kind of awkward now.
oh, yeah. But she knows she moves a needle. Not gonna lie. Not to the point of like a Bad Bunny or Taylor Swift. I think they're banking on trying to get Taylor Swift to do it. I don't know.
Oh, J. Cole actually is part of the odds. He does have odds that are there. It's plus 880, but if I had my choice, it would be Cole. I just don't know if he's gonna be active enough to want to do it. Maybe as like a farewell to him as an artist, like as a way to go out. That would be pretty cool.
Fair point, Crafty. Not only well-rounded, and that was one of the questions I meant to ask you earlier. I don't see too many flaws on this team going into next year. So I'm not saying they repeat. So hear what I'm saying. I'm not saying they automatically repeat. What I'm saying is, if we say there's obviously holes and gaps with the Patriots, I'm having a hard time finding those same gaps and holes when it comes to the Seahawks. That's my point.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm having a hard time finding the flaws in this.
They do have a lot of cap space, and they are probably bringing back at least a lot of their core guys. I've heard some talks about Reek Woolen. They probably could afford to bring him back, but even if they don't, their DB room is still stacked even without him.
They can move off of him and let him get paid somewhere else and just draft another corner in the league. Draft another corner. That's what kind of been their MO anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Kenneth Walker, they may or may not pay just because running backs. But
oh no, he's getting paid regardless. I don't know if you.
I know he's Super Bowl MVP. I get it. Of course, that moves it.
Yeah,
and he's definitely better than Chardonnay. But I mean, they probably could afford to pay at least the majority of those guys and still be rock solid.
The Chardonnay injury now is the reason why you make sure you keep Kenneth Walker.
Right.
That was an ACL a couple of weeks ago, so that's pretty much this year. That man won't be ready week 1.
Right. And I mean, I don't know what Chardonnay's contract looks like. If they cut Chardonnay instead, that might give them if they're able to, depending on his contract or whatever. Like that could also add a little bit of cap space that helps them keep as many people as possible.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll see with that.
I fuck with Big X to plug, but
Yes, I would. I don't think it's gonna happen, but yes, I would.
it's not gonna happen because of two things. One, I don't think the catalog is there when it comes to playing on that type of stage. Now, I'm not saying for me, I would love it. And then two, I don't think he has an international reach, which is also another point that Reddy made. That is, I think, is important.
You know,
they are trying to move the NFL product internationally.
You know who someone who could do it, who is put themselves back on the map very recently and has been pretty widely recognized between their old catalog and their new catalog?
Snoop.
Clips.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh. Okay.
That would be a great halftime show.
I mean, I would go crazy for some Pusha T and Malice going back and forth on the mic on.
We'll see how the Epstein file stuff goes with Push,
but
well, maybe that will sour that situation a little bit. But I mean, artists that are big right now, like, you know, also possibly rules out Jay-Z. But
oh my God. That's crazy, bro. Oh man. But as to kind of help bring this
yeah, all right, let's just move on to the other stuff because we still got stuff to cover. NFL awards. We'll do NFL awards and the Hall of Fame. NFL awards, what did you think of we already did Coach of the Year and Assistant Coach. What did you think of the other awards? I know that you agreed with MVP like I did.
MVP was spot on.
Were you at all surprised that Herbert got a vote?
I'm not surprised he did because just the way that the writers' behavior goes. But I also can understand that why he did get the vote because, I mean, look, if you really step back at it, that man offensive line was nowhere to be found, and he literally played like Iron Man all season and drug him to, at least a first round competitive game, at least until they just couldn't do nothing in the second half. So
no, it was Sam Monson from originally PFF who was the one that voted for him, and he put out a video explaining why. And after hearing his case, I mean, yeah, the offensive line was the worst in the NFL by far. He didn't have a particularly good receiver group. You know, his receiver group's comfortably below average, and he carried them to the playoffs. I mean, if in terms of valuable, I think that you can make a legitimate case that he was the most valuable player to his team.
Is that word valuable?
Yeah,
it matters. I mean, you gotta put. That's why we always say we gotta put context on it. And when he had the word valuable when it comes to MVP, like I just think because he was without a lot. There was a point in time he was missing key players on his defense, and along with having trash O-line play, and he's still playing solid football. So I can understand why he got the vote. So it didn't bother me.
Offensive Player of the Year, JSN. Not again, really loaded competitive field, but you can't complain about it. I think.
If you go Puka Nacua, you're splitting hairs. I don't care. Neither one of them would have been wrong. You go CMC, I can't understand.
Right. Yeah, CMC. Were the other one. James Cook was.
Hell, I think, you go James Cook.
Yeah. Right, exactly. I don't think he ended up being in the final five, but I thought that he should have been, or like he had a serious enough argument to be it. Hold on, let me just pull the rest of this up.
Disrespect James Cook, though, this is crazy, bro.
Yeah, no. it was those two, Puka, JSN, CMC, Bijan. Drake May was the one that shouldn't have been there because he was already nominated for MVP. Like that spot should have gone to James Cook. That was kind of crazy. But like, yeah, like any of the five aside from Drake May, so would have been totally valid choices. I know that I had said last week that I thought that JSN had too much stronger of a case than Puka, but if you actually look at all of their stats, it is closer than I originally thought. Yeah, no, super loaded field. Defensive Player of the Year, obviously Myles Garrett, obviously unanimously Myles Garrett. Brian Burns should have been a finalist, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway. He was obviously going to the guy who set the 18-game sack record. There's really nothing to say about that one. Offensive Rookie of the Year, did Tetairoa McMillan. I think we had both said that we thought it should have gone to Tetairoa McMillan. I will say, though, even though I don't think he should have won, Jackson Dart deserved more than one vote. That was kind of crazy. Tyler Shuck did not deserve to get more votes than Jackson Dart. And do you agree, or do I need to make my case to you? Do I need to get on my soapbox for this?
I mean, Tyler Shuck getting votes, I don't hate it. I mean, the guy did play some damn good football down the stretch. Kind of makes you question, like, had he been able to get in there a little bit quicker, if they probably would have snuck around and been that representative of the golden bag of trash that is the NFC South in the playoffs. So, I mean, that makes you wonder.
Okay. However,
no, hold on. I do think that Jackson Dart did play relatively solid under circumstances. That is the New York Giants.
Led all of the rookies in total touchdowns.
I absolutely love his mobility.
Yes, he set an all-time rookie record for most consecutive games with a passing and rushing touchdown, or with a rushing touchdown. Beat the best team that Tyler Shuck beat was the 8-9 Panthers.
Yeah,
Jackson Dart beat the Eagles, and he beat the Chargers, who were both playoff teams with winning records. And he beat the Cowboys, who had one of the best offenses in the NFL. Now, their defense was bad, but they had one of the best. It's still a better team, arguably, than the Panthers. And he, even though he didn't win, he lit up the Broncos defense. And he did most of that without Malik Neighbors, and a lot of that without Cam Scadaboo, too.
Nah, he did. He gave that Broncos defense hell that game. Matter of fact, that wasn't even his fault. Why they lost? I mean,
it wasn't.
It was a defensive collapse. You're right about that.
Yes, a Shane Bowen masterclass. And also, if the main argument against giving it to Dart is the amount of games played, Shuck also played only a little more than half the season.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the amount of that. I just think for me, I love Jackson Dart in the way that he plays. It's fun. It's entertaining. I just don't know if he'll be able to be around for a long time because he got to figure out a way to take care of his body, man.
Okay, well, that's not getting factored into the award voting, but
I know for me personally, I'm if we're because we're going to give awards on play style.
We're giving awards on what they did within that season
and how they did in winter season. Yeah, you're right. And if you take the impact of what Jackson can do with his feet and his arm, he can affect the game in more than in one way. So I look, if you want to give give him more votes than Tyler, I wouldn't be mad at you. I look again,
and he also should have been more than Travion Henderson, who didn't even get used until halfway through the season. But that's just me. That's just me.
Again, the system is flawed. It's not just flawed when it comes to this Hall of Fame shit, man. It's it's some flaws anytime that you put a lot of people in charge of voting systems that never played a down in NFL, probably never played a down in either collegiate or high school. And look, again, being around the game and writing and reporting on it, respect to it. We'll never downplay it because we're almost in the same realm of that vicinity, just being a content creator. So I would never downplay it. Obviously, they go to school, they got a code of ethics they got to follow. They got, education that they sacrifice time, all that. It would never downplay that. I'm just saying, when it comes to Hall of Fame, stuff like this, awards that can affect people's extension money, tiers on how much they get paid, incentives and stuff like that. This should be voted on people that have either played it, coached it, or managed it, GMs, owners.
Yeah, or like I think it's fine for analysts to be involved if they're relying on data. And I think that a lot of these are so subjective. And like there's no way of making sure that everybody's using the right criteria. A lot of people do just have biases, and I mean we'll talk about that heavily when it comes to the Hall of Fame, because it showed there even more.
Yeah.
But just to wrap up with the awards before we go to the Hall of Fame, Defensive Rookie of the Year, even though I said the Jackson Dart shouldn't have won, I still think there was a giant that was snubbed of their spot. But I've said my piece on that. Carson was heavily expected to win. I think you had said Nicky Manwari was your favorite to win. Do you disagree with the decision to give it to Carson?
No, Carson. I thought Carson wrapped that shit up like week 4.
Okay. I mean, he played great. I'm not taking anything away from him.
No. Carson was going to. If you ask me, I think that's probably the least competitive. This one in the Defensive Player of the Year, which was also another lot, was probably the least 2 competitive categories, just because I just think we knew who was going to win it. And no disrespect to another probably a young rookie that probably you could have thrown his name in the hat, James Pierce, who now is just on. He needs to clean up some situation right now.
Yeah, no, because I had said last week that the 5 finalists for that award were the correct finalists. I thought that Abdul should have won, but Pierce was, I think, a deserving finalist. And after the most recent news, I think there are questions of if he's going to be in the NFL at all now.
All right, so this is a sidebar conversation, so this was not part of the plan. I'm just organically pivoting, folks.
Sure.
Randy, I'm just at a loss for words. Like, young man, you literally just made a name for yourself in this NFL. When you put your name in that category of being Defensive Rookie of the Year, and then you just kept on that trajectory, and in 3 years, matter of fact, in 2 years, that team probably would not have let you see that 5th-year option. They were going to extend the shit out of you. You just cost yourself $150 fucking million, bro.
It's crazy. I mean, and like I know that there was talks of him having character issues in the draft, but it wasn't this kind of character issue. There was like issues with his motivation and stuff.
To this degree,
I don't think anything like this was ever expected out of him. Like this would have been like what Mike Green people were worried about with him, not James Pierce Jr.
But to this degree?
Yeah, no, exactly. It really did come out of nowhere.
Bro, the fact when the details came out that you struck a police officer with your vehicle in a way to evade and to flee, I'm like, oh, bro, you are asking to come on, bro. You're asking for the state of Florida to throw the whole damn book at your goofy ass.
Nah, man, and it's a shame. Like he had apparently his girlfriend had apparently broken up with him, and he had
By the
been
way, Rickea
stalking her.
Jackson, who's a professional women's basketball player for the LA Sparks, who has her own blossoming career.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, she had broken up with him. He was stalking her, kept calling her, not letting her, leaving her alone. She tries to go to the police station. He follows her in his brand new Lamborghini and smashes it into her car to stop her from going to the police. Police get there, and then yes, he strikes a police officer on his way to try to flee. And I mean, there's just so much there. Clearly unstable, clearly has a lot of issues that he's going to need to get worked out, possibly through his career away. And as like a minor note that kind of bothers me, if I was that rich that I could afford a Lamborghini, if anybody put a scratch on it, I'd bug the fuck out. This kid
Literally use it as a battering ram.
Yeah, this kid's like, I could just get another Lamborghini. I'm gonna smash two people's cars with it. It's a minor note. It's not nearly the most important thing here, but it bothered me a little. It's like you are so ungrateful to be able to afford a Lamborghini. I don't know. That's just me. But like, yeah, when I feel like this happens to a lot of athletes. They get to a certain point of money and fame, and they kind of lose their mind. They think that they're untouchable, and he will learn that he is in fact touchable real quick.
I think what I saw, and somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, in the state of Florida, it's going to carry a mandatory sentence on this. They're gonna make him sit down for this. For how long? That's determined. Was this all said and done? Obviously, I'm not jumping to conclusions or anything. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. I'm not none of that. I'm not an expert in none of that. So all I'm saying is I'm just looking at a young man that literally was getting praised on this show a week ago, turned around, got praised for being a finalist, for being Defensive Rookie of the Year, and within 72 hours, matter of fact, 48 hours, or something like that, he's getting into this situation, and this is just.
Yeah. And while I am a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer in Florida, so there's limits to how much I know about the law there. But from just on football, if you're the Falcons, you're fucking furious about this. You gave a first for that guy. You might need a quarterback now, and you might not be in a position to get one now. Because of him.
I didn't even think about that because they gave up capital to go get him.
Yeah. And he might be in jail for the rest of his contract.
Yeah. And because I think minimum he might do like 3 to 5 years on this joint. Like you said, the rest of his rookie contract. And like you said, they need a quarterback.
Yeah.
They got one. Oh my God.
Yeah. They better hope Penix comes back in a clean bill of health and it's like a 70% completion percentage, because they're going to be pissed.
Oh, sure.
If Michael Penix is a wrap, if he's a bust and they're stuck with him, or Kirk Cousins, like they're oh man, that's gotta hurt.
No, that is oh my goodness.
At least you have Jalen Walker.
Oh my goodness, that is crazy. Yeah, I did see that. Wemby, look, Wemby is a freak of nature.
Absolutely.
Right? Cheat code, and it just makes no sense. I mean, it's crazy. Is Dallas in trouble? They have to tag Pickens for $25 million, but it wouldn't be right signing him for over $35 million, knowing Cini only getting 32. If they re-sign him, they probably give him a little bit under CD. So if CD's at 32, they'll give him 31.5. Just out of respect.
I think that I mean, it's kind of similar with the T. Higgins situation for me. Like,
Mhm.
you have no defense really.
Yeah,
Like you have some pieces on the defensive line now, but you have so many holes you need to fix there. I don't know if wide receiver 2 is where you should be committing that much money. That's my thing. Like, I would rather use that money to bring in defensive pieces, given my situation.
Randy,
Like Pickett's played well enough to earn it, but
Randy is
from roster construction,
it's Jerry Jones. We're talking about him.
I know, right? Like Bengals ownership and Cowboys ownership not good, but
Don't be surprised if Jerry Jones ponies up 31.5 for George Pickens.
honestly, knowing him, they might do the 35, and CD might might get pissed.
I think that would be asinine to make to pay Pickens way over CD.
No, I agree.
Because we're talking about CD Lamb, whose first 4 years in the league can be compared to only Justin Jefferson's first 4 years in the league. Like,
Or I mean, Jamar Chase or like whatever. Like he's a great receiver.
well, but that's what I'm saying. We're not talking about there's a huge gap between him and Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, numbers wise.
Right.
So
He did have some drops and some injuries in this year, and
that's fair. That's fair. That is 100% fair.
yeah, but like I don't know. He's a great receiver. I don't know how much they're personally worried about outpricing him over CD. I think Jerry Jones Jerry Jones doesn't make decisions the way that we would expect a football owner to make decisions.
Exactly.
And so it's hard to say, like, we could say, like, okay, what would we do?
Yeah.
And then the question is, like, okay, but that doesn't mean that he's going to do that.
Hey,
And I don't know.
JD, what would Jerry do? And we ain't talking about Jesus. We talking about Jerry. WWJD. What would Jerry do? And whatever you think he does, he changes. He has his own formula. Whatever the wind blows and whatever he thinks makes sense at that point in time makes sense to him.
Right.
No, Anthony, you're not wrong. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
If you're talking about last year, Pickens was the number one wide receiver, no doubt about it. All I'm saying is, if you're talking about, for me, if I'm a general manager, I'm looking at the overall body of work. I can't poo-poo on what CD Lamb has done overall body of work and what George Pickens has done overall body of work. George Pickens, if we're talking about talent, George Pickens might be the most talented wide receiver on the planet Earth right now. If we're having a real conversation, like his talent is worldly. All right. Now, putting it all together as a wide receiver, there's some things that he got to, he got to clean up.
There are also the issues of he's someone who regularly
crashes out.
Team. Like, it's similar to like the AJ Brown situation, like all the talent in the world, but like how reliable is he? Is it worth tying yourself to that much money to someone who you're not even sure is reliable as a part of a team?
Let me ask you this, Randy. Would you value anything that Mike Tomlin would say about a player?
Yes.
He moved off of him.
Yep.
Regardless of the talent that we know that he possesses. Let that sink in. Because I'm with you. Anything that Mike Tomlin would say about a certain person, a player that has been under his wing, under his coaching, his tutelage, and he says something about that person, I'm going to take it for exactly for what it was, what he said. And I'm going to take value in it is because I think he's earned that cachet in this football conversation, this football space that we talk in so much, that, hey, his word means something. And he moved off of him. I got to take that into account. Otherwise, he'd still be in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what they end up doing with that. Protector of the Year was the last one.
Yeah, that was the first time they did that.
Joe Tooney, your former guard. I think if I had to pick one person, I think I chose him. Again, pretty competitive field, but absolutely helped turn the Bears around. Do you agree with the decision?
Absolutely.
I think he had second best pass rush win rate, only behind Creed Humphrey of everybody in the NFL. Also,
not only that, I just think you look at just aura rod, like just what Joe bought to that, because Caleb Williams was getting like harassed last year.
Yeah.
Behind his own line, and he was given time this year, and that's when you see the leap of his progression. And that's what you see. It was able for him to look a lot different, for him to answer a lot of critics like myself, to answer a lot of questions from people like myself that was like, yeah, he got the talent, but can homie really do it? And and again, when you don't have time, shout out to the podcast Tribal Chief. What's up, Bobby? When you don't have time, and look, we even seen it from Patrick Mahomes. And when you don't have time, he's not Patrick Mahomes-esque to the 100% power that we know that he can be. All right.
Yeah.
So
still crazy. They only needed to give a fourth for him. I'm so sorry.
Hey, well, I mean, the name of the game, because he was, I think, 32, 33 at the point in time that they made that trade. So you did get a veteran. You did get somebody that so much knowledge in the game like Joe Thuney. The only problem is you're going to get a small window. And in this situation, I think you're okay with getting a small window if it means it jump starts something that can be something greater, and it gives the franchise time to find your successor, because they had the time to find the successor.
Yes, and also probably with the help of Joe Thuney's leadership. I mean, Darnell Wright is a great tackle. Drew Dahlman is a great center, like one of the best at their positions in the NFL. The offensive line as a whole looks great. And if you want to argue like Joe Thuney had help on that line, he absolutely did, but they were absolutely being led by him. And that the offensive line, because Ben Johnson knows offensive line building and what that does for a team, because he did it with the Lions too.
Yeah,
absolutely changed that team around,
without a doubt. Because it answered a lot of questions just by making a certain couple of moves. And look, point blank period, when they saw a problem, they invested in it, they took care of it, and it paid dividends in first year. So, and it helped, and it absolutely helps the growth of your young quarterback, who he needs that. He's going to need that. So,
yeah. And okay, so now the NFL awards the same night. Hall of Famers were announced. Hall of Fame being a huge controversy this year.
It was.
The 5 Hall of Famers that made this year, shout out to Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, and Roger Craig. What do you think of those choices?
Obviously, I didn't have I know a lot of people were saying Roger Craig was the controversial one. Yeah. I didn't have a pushback on it, because we seen players get into the Hall of Fame by being part of certain teams. And so obviously I'm not putting Roger Craig in that same hemisphere as the Ronnie Lott, as the Charles Haley, as the Jerry Rice, as the Joe Montana. But he is a big part of those teams that won a lot of those Super Bowls for the 49ers as the starting running back of those teams. And he contributed. We can't forget that he was the first running back in NFL history to have 1,000 receiving and rushing yards in the same season.
Yes.
In the same season. What are we talking about? Why did he have to wait, almost damn near 30 plus years, 29, 28, something, 30, something. He waited a long time. Like, so if we're putting cats into the Hall of Fame for being part of time-changing teams, but they contributed a big role in that, how did we not? What's Roger Craig waiting for? What did he wait for?
Yeah, and I think that this shows. I think that this does highlight a problem with the voting that's been talked about, because Roger Craig is a Hall of Famer. I don't think there's a dispute over whether he's a Hall of Famer. I think he definitely is. Was he one of the 5 most deserving in this particular class? I don't think so. And obviously, Bill Belichick is the one that's missing there. I don't know if he's necessarily more deserving than Terrell Suggs. I don't know if he's necessarily more deserving than Torrey Holt. Maybe he is. I think there's, obviously, and I'm going to be the one that's going to say it, I think there's a debate over whether he's more individually deserving than Eli Manning. And also, one of the things that Roger Craig is the most known for is the fumble that gave the Giants the Super Bowl over his team.
That's fair.
Roger Craig is a phenomenal historical running back. If you look at his counting stats, they don't look necessarily Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, he was under 10,000 rushing yards throughout his career. But he is a Hall of Famer. But the problem that I have with the voting system is the way he undoubtedly got the vote because he was on his way off of being eligible for ballots anymore. Mm-hmm. And they didn't want to risk him not being a Hall of Famer at all. And the problem with that is it's not supposed to be like you play this kind of chess game to get as many of the right people in as possible. You're supposed to be, who are the 5 most deserving people that are available right now? And I don't think that he was.
And that's fair.
But he deserves to be a Hall of Famer. And I think what they need to change about the voting system, because everybody says they need to change the voting system. We all agree on that, but I don't think a lot of people have real specifics on what that means. I think if you are eligible as a Hall of Fame vote nominee, you should just be that forever. I don't think there should ever be an expiring period of when they can't vote for you anymore.
Facts. I'm with you on that.
So you never get this kind of thing. Because there's no reason for it to expire, right? If you never get in, you just never get in. But I don't think that they should lose the opportunity to ever vote for you past a certain point. It's kind of like arbitrary line that they created. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you. I'm with you because here's what it does. It makes this year's vote agenda driven. It makes it agenda driven because now Roger Craig is in his last year of eligibility. And then, somebody has to come off that list. So no doubtably, there's somebody else, like you said, that is not going to make it because now there's an agenda that, we got to get Roger Craig in there because this is last year eligibility. So what if that was Belichick's spot? What if that was Torrey Holt? What if that was T. Sizzle's spot? What if that was somebody else's spot that was sitting right there? What if that was Eli Manning's spot? I hear you. But again, and that goes to the voting process. Roger Craig this should never been a or else type of moment for him where we got to put him in or else there's nothing left. There's no eligibility. So he should have never been in a situation point blank period. I mean,
right.
Why wait so late? So I have so many flaws with it. We've already harped on Belichick and Roger Kraft. Eli Manning not getting in. I for sure thought he was getting in first ballot.
Yeah.
That's just and my reasons might be different from yours. I just think because I think we're gonna. The guy I'm about to compare him to, he won't be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he's going to have a conversation of getting in or not, is Julian Edelman. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at his numbers, regular season wise, they're not going to blow your mind, and he hit a switch when it comes to postseason. And I kind of feel like Eli Manning always kind of did the same thing.
For sure. And I think Edelman is also a Hall of Famer. I don't think Edelman's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
No. No,
but
no,
he,
first ballot.
but
No,
he
no.
he is for his contribution to football history and
And that's what I'm
his
saying.
postseason performances and all of that. He does
And if,
deserve to be in.
and if that's the case, then I think that logic needs to be should have been applied to Roger Craig a minute ago. Was Roger Craig first ballot Hall of Famer? No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. Is he a Hall of Famer? Yes, because he contributed to a part of football history that is and will forever be talked about in the story of NFL of football. Is
Yes.
part of that 49ers dynasty that they played. And yes, there's going to be a part when it comes to the Patriots dynasty, the second dynasty in that dynasty, that yes, you're going to have to talk about Julian Edelman because he was a key cog in it.
Right.
That makes you Hall of Fame worthy, in my opinion.
Yes. And I totally agree with everything you just said. As long as I think that it's there has to be a cutoff, obviously, like when it's time for Mahomes and Kelsey and Chris Jones to get in. I don't want them to be like, oh well, Isaiah Pacheco and like Clyde Edwards-Helaire were part of that dynasty. They got to get in, right? Like your individual contribution has to matter, but Roger Craig does have that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the rushing and receiving yards in the same season, right? Like he is an all-time great player.
1,000 yards and rushing and receiving from one guy in one season.
Yeah, no, I mean, phenomenal player, deserves to be a Hall of Famer. I just don't know if he was in the top 5 for this particular year,
and that's fine.
And you could argue that about Vinatieri too, just on the basis that he's a kicker.
I don't
like. I don't have a problem with him getting in. He might be the best kicker ever.
There's two Super Bowls that is on his foot that would not be on Brady's fingers. Just saying.
Sure, I don't disagree. I don't have a problem with Vinatieri.
It might even be 3. if we call it, we keep it in a butt dog. There's 3. There might be 3 Super Bowls on Vinatieri's foot that might not be there on Brady's fingers if we calling it a spade, dog. That's all I'm saying.
I get it. I mean, we could make those same, what would the greatest show on turf Rams be without Torrey Holt? Like, we could do that, but
Oof.
I don't have a problem with Vinatieri getting it. I'm just saying that you could kind of have all of these debates. Honestly, maybe they should let more people per season into the Hall of Fame. Maybe that would also help.
Expand it. But I will say this. Of those 5 people that got inducted or that made the class this year, and this one might actually sound like controversy for some people. I don't know. I'm interested to hear what you say. I thought Luke Kuechly was actually the controversial pick on this one. Because no disrespect to Luke. I did love his game. I just thought damn, almost similar to Terrell Davis, where career shortened, kind of did some good football in a short amount of time. Because if I'm remembering correctly, I think Luke probably played 8 or 9 seasons. I think.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, actually, I could check right now. I think it was 8 seasons. He did not play long.
The guy was
8 year.
8, yeah. So 8 seasons. I just always kind of felt like this was almost like the Terrell Davis-esque, short career but high impact type of career. But the other names that was on that list, I'm like, wow, okay. No disrespect to Luke, because I can't remember if he won any Defensive Player of the Years. I don't think he did.
He won Defensive Player of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
5-time first team All Pro.
Yeah, he definitely.
I think he was an All Pro in every season he played.
He made a lot.
I think he missed 1. He had 8 years and he was an All Pro for 7 of them. 7-time Pro Bowl also. 2-time combined tackles leader.
Yeah.
So
a machine.
I don't have a problem with him being one of the 5. I think of all of them, aside from obviously Breeze and Fitz, from in terms of just the players, you could argue he was the most dominant of the third most dominant individual player of all of them when he was there. I think the longevity argument is totally fair. I think if you wanted to give it to a Suggs or a Holtz or whoever instead of him just on that basis, or like a Jason Witten because of the counting stats, I wouldn't have a problem with that either. I think you could have gone in a lot of different. As long as Breeze and Fitzgerald got in, you could have gone a lot of different directions with the other ones, and then that could have been argued for.
See, and that was because that's what I was trying to find. I was trying to find the names of people that were eligible, because, like, for me, when you think of Jason Wood, that's one I thought was a damn near probably shoe in. And again, no disrespect to Luke Kuechly. I was just a little kind of slightly. I was like, oh, okay,
right, yeah, like Eli Manning could have gotten that spot. Like a lot of they could have gone a lot of different directions. I don't have a problem with it being Kuechly. I think the logic behind Kuechly is more than fine. I mean, yeah, like they're just. It's just only letting 5 people in per year is just kind of tough.
I don't know how. Yeah, they're gonna have to expand that.
I think the max is 8, but they haven't gone to 8 in a while.
What's wrong with 7? Yeah, like you said, 8. I'm fine with 7, 8.
Right, like I get the Hall of Fame should be hard to get in, but there are so many players that have hit that elite mark that are only not in just because of this like arbitrary line, and then it leads to these kinds of things. The controversy around Belichick maybe wouldn't have happened if they had 8 spots instead of 5. That's kind of just let more people who get to that point in. But like, it still should be a high line. But there are a lot of players that have hit that line.
Hey man, look, the fact that they went ahead and did that to Robert and Bob. I'm sorry, Bob and Bill. Yeah, that lets me know what's really good. They said. It's almost similar to how that situation with OJ happened, where he got acquitted, and then they found some way to get him for that memorabilia charge, and they patted a shit ton of charges on his ass and lock his up in Nevada, bro. This is like, we gonna find a way to get you, motherfucker. Oh yeah,
it was like getting Al Capone on tax fraud, exactly.
Oh, because all them writers, they was like, oh man, that little punishment the NFL gave y'all for them gates, them ain't shit. Just wait till, oh yeah, we gonna hit you where it matters the most. You think you a shoe-in Hall of Famer? Not on my watch, buddy. No, sir. That's exactly what they did. They said, nah, we ain't gonna do that shit. Nah,
man. Yeah. All right, you wanna close out with the NBA? Now the NFL season's over. It's sad to see. We're going to be focusing on the not football sports until football season starts. Basketball, of course, being my favorite of the not football sports.
That's crazy.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the trade deadline. What did you think about some of the trades that happened that we didn't get to cover?
Because I know the trades that happened after, the one that I really mattered the most to me was, there is a basketball guy that looks over Jonathan Kuminga because they finally got him up out of Golden State. So that's the only one that really mattered to me. Kristaps gets to Golden State. Only problem with him, he's already missing time already. They acquired an injured guy. So unicorn, when he's on the court, is just that hard. Often are you going to have that unicorn available? I mean, but I think they, after losing Jimmy, they were like, oh, let's get another aging veteran in this joint. So not bad. And get a 29, 30-year-old Kristaps that, might got some little gas left in the tank. That was pretty.
I have some thoughts on the Washington trades. I don't know. What do you? Because we talked about Trae Young a little bit. What do you think of the moves that Washington made before I kind of go into it?
I mean,
Anthony Davis.
I don't know how the hell AD still has trade value. I'm being honest.
Mhm.
How the hell does AD still have trade value? I mean, this is really baffling to me that this guy still has an ounce of trade value.
Yeah. So
He
I
probably
think
won't play a minute in the Washington uniform this year.
right. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, they've already said that he's going to miss all of this season,
Yeah.
and I have one member of the cult of Brunsonianism that is possibly watching this and has been debating me on this for a bit now. Um, so I'm very confused at the logic from Washington's end because you were the worst team in basketball. You were the most rebuilding-y rebuild team imaginable. This is the situation that would make the most sense for you to acquire as many picks as possible, for high first round picks as possible,
Bill.
young players, and build, right? The same way that we saw the Spurs do it, the same way that we saw the Pistons do it. So explain to me why while you're in this position, you trade your picks away for two fairly older, injury-prone players. What is the logic behind that? So, like, I think Trae Young. So, Anthony Davis, when he's on the court, is a great player. I still think that he's a great player when he's there. Trae Young is certainly a basketball player, and I don't understand what they do. They think they're going to push to like be a contender because of this. Like, so I know that they gave a couple of firsts for AD, who they're only going to get like, I don't know, 20 games out of. And they gave up some young players and some picks for AD. I'm trying to see exactly what they gave.
Hey man,
What Washington gave for Trae Young.
A Will Dawkins, the current general manager for the Washington Wizards, and reason why I phrase it like that because it says current, because that's going to easily turn into past tense once you figure out that none of this shit is going to work, bro.
Okay, so it looks like they just gave CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. So like the trade value isn't horrible for Trae Young, but at the same time, you're trying to rebuild and you're building the team around two older injury-prone players. Trae Young is also very injury-prone. He's been injured most of the season already. The team was better without him, and you're bringing him onto this team with a bunch of young players who aren't very good. I know Alex Sarr looks like he's like a potentially rising good player. We'll see. We'll see what materializes there. But AD is going to miss a ton of games. And Trae Young, when he's there, doesn't even make his team better. He doesn't play winning basketball. He's a defensive black hole. The Atlanta Hawks defensive rating became the worst in the NFL by far when he was on the court and became above average when he was off of it. And so Anthony Davis, who I assume was partially brought on to make up for that defensive black hole issue, is also not going to be there most of the time. And you are making this trade knowing that. Like, these are the kind of moves that you would make if you're like a contending team trying to win now, not a rebuilding team who's trying to grow talent organically. So I don't really understand the logic of this. I don't think it's going to work out. And on the Maverick side of it, you got off of Anthony Davis and you got some first round picks, which I think is good, but and like you can't go back in time and not do the Luka trade. But I do think so like from that point on, you could say like, well, this was a good move given the situation they were in regardless. But it is unfortunate, I think, to look back if you're the Mavericks and be like, we traded Luka for like a couple of protected first rounders. That's what we got out of this trade. And like, a couple of young players. Like, so okay, who did Anthony Davis, Washington trade? I just want to make sure that I know exactly the play, because I don't know these players' names who were traded. Which is, it says all you need to know. Traded Washington. Along with three players. Okay, they received an aging Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Tyus Jones, Marvin Bagley III, and then OKC's 2026 first rounder, Golden State's 2030 first rounder, and 3 future second round picks. Now, that's what you got in exchange for Luka at this point. And that doesn't feel great. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't look at that and be like, I'm glad that that's what I got for trading Luka Doncic.
Look, I don't know about you, but sometimes maybe it's in this NBA, I guess the picks just doesn't have that certain sting like anymore. Like, damn, man, it was first round pick. Like it used to matter back in the day, because you get some solid talent late in the first round, early second rounds back in the days, like especially when college basketball was deep with talent. And all the talent was driven coming from the NCAA. Now you got all these other basketball entities where cats can come and you can find people with shit internationally, whatever. So it's more like the players that you start giving up. Like what's their role? Like, how important are they to your rotation, minutes log, stuff like that? Like all that stuff, to me, matters now. Impact. Chris Middleton and CJ McCollum, man, we talking about some cats that was way past their prime, don't even matter no more, bro. I don't know what Washington is doing. Trading for players that were already hurt. One might not even see no minutes. That's why they're a dumpster fire, man. I mean,
and the Wizards in this trade also got D'Angelo Russell, who I'm sure I'm sure you as a Lakers fan are looking at and be like, damn, those Wizards are going to be scary next year with D'Angelo Russell.
They're already talking about buying them out. He's not going to even report. They're already talking about buying him out. So
that was good job, guys. The Mavericks, I think, won this trade. It's just the problem is they should have just stuck with Luka. Like they were right to do this trade now, but they're in a worse situation than they were 2 years ago for really no reason.
Well, but they found a way to dump old AD onto somebody else. They said, "Well, your problem now."
Yeah, exactly. You're in the situation you're in. You did the best you could with it, and not a fantastic return, but you got some firsts. You got you could something there. You're building this team around Cooper Flag. You do have some talented pieces on the team. You're probably going to be trading Kyrie soon. We'll see what you can get for that. Try to make this team younger. See if you could build around Flag. You got PJ Washington. You got Gafford. I think they still got Lively. Like they have some pieces. We'll see what happens.
Stack up. Whatever compensation picks that might materialize into something else. If not, somebody you can draft. You can always bundle those picks into somebody else to actually get an actual person that's got some, tread on the tires. So,
right.
Who knows? I think Dallas is definitely in a better position right now than Washington is. So,
yes, and I mean to that same point, I guess to a different degree. So we talked about Triple J with the Utah Jazz. Now Triple J is obviously a much better player in 2026, or at least a more valuable player given being on the field actually, on the court actually, than Anthony Davis or Trae Young. But don't I feel like Jazz is kind of making a similar mistake. Like they're also an awful team, and they're bringing in a really good player, but they gave up a lot of trade capital to get him. And it's like, do you think this is the difference between you being a contender and you being an awful team? Like he might raise you to be a play-in ish team, but in the West, that's probably not likely. You know, it seems weird that a team that bad would be willing to give up so much trade capital for one player.
Future. That's the only thing I can think of is future. When you make moves like this, the only thing I say is they're trying to get their foundation pieces to make their core so they can build around it. That's the only thing I can really think of.
Yeah, you got Lowry Market and you got Triple J, and I guess hopefully they're hoping they could make more moves to build around them. But I don't know, maybe considering like this is apparently going to be a loaded draft class next year, maybe I would have held on to the firsts. You know, you need more than just one guy, even if it's a really good defender. That's probably just me. Yeah, I mean Grizzlies. We talked about this. They're getting those firsts. They're probably going to move off of Ja. They're in their rebuilding era. I think that's smart for them. We'll see what they end up doing over the next few years to kind of get back to where they've been. Vucevic to the Celtics.
Veteran
waiting for Simons
inside.
Yeah, so I kind of like that for them. Do we have any more thoughts on the trade deadline?
No.
Jose Alvarado going to the Knicks. We got off of I.O.W for him. I like it. I probably would have preferred a big if we could get somebody, but I like Jose Alvarado.
I think Vucevic would have looked better for y'all.
Yeah, probably. I don't know if we could have just given I.O.W for him, but whoever we did like a multiple trade. It was like I.O.W for somebody and then that guy for Alvarado. But yeah, if we could have gotten Vucevic for decent value, yeah, I agree.
Reason why I say that is because a big guy, he's not going to be afraid to get down and dirty. Vucevic has always been pretty solid his whole career. Rebound wise, he's a walking double-double. He pretty much has been a walking double-double his whole career in the league. From his time in Orlando, his time in Chicago, literally a walking double-double.
Yes.
So I thought that'd have been a nice move for you guys to have that alternative for Cat. Because obviously with Cat loving to be on the outside, we'll let Vooch go down.
Right, like a bench big when Mitchell is hurt, or you want to get some, like I get what you're saying. One player that wasn't traded though, Giannis was not traded during the trade deadline.
Surprise.
Yeah, I still expect him to eventually get traded. I guess we're gonna play this whole game a little longer. I know that, and I've heard people say this, and I think that's true. Giannis isn't the kind of player that you want to trade mid-season. He's someone that you want to have an off-season to structure around, because you're breaking up your team so much to get him, and you want to structure the team around him going into a season. So maybe that's why.
Not only that, I just think that's a big part of it that I think that needs to get discussed. But just period, he was going to add, the asking price was going to be way too much. You talking about break up your team to go get Giannis? You're breaking up your team to get Giannis. Breaking up your team to get Giannis. But no.
I think I heard that there were offers from the Warriors, the Timberwolves, and the Heat, and I think they were all rejected. Also, which is an interesting choice of teams. Honestly, if I'm the Timberwolves, I'm not making that move. We've just been to 2 Western Conference Finals back to back with the teams we have. I'm not breaking apart what's a really good team to take Giannis.
No.
Warriors and the Heat makes more sense to me.
You're not wrong, Randy, but I think you're not doing your job as a GM if you don't at least pick up the phone.
Sure. Agreed. Warriors and Heat are both interesting though. Like, who, if you're the Warriors or if you're the Heat, what kind of package do you think you're sending Milwaukee's way for Giannis that would make sense for both teams?
Whatever the hell they asked for. No, come on, man. If I want a superstar that has at least 8 to 9 more years left on his career, which Giannis has, that's going to be able to spearhead anything that I got going on for Miami. Who's your superstar? For Golden State, I need to start transitioning past post Steph Curry. So it makes sense for either one.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Neither, both teams have could use him as a building block. Neither team is really going anywhere at the moment. The Warriors still maybe have like a serious playoff run, maybe 2 potentially, but like probably that is a ceiling. And then they have to figure out what they're doing. So yeah, I think of any team, the Warriors probably make the most sense because they have players that have value for a short period of time. So they have someone to give over to them. But the question is Milwaukee looking to take aging veterans in a rebuilding point? Because that's what the Warriors really have to offer. That would be worth a Giannis.
That's all they got is old motherfuckers.
Yeah. So like, I don't know, like, do you want Steph and Draymond in exchange and like a bunch of picks and young guys in exchange for Giannis? I don't know. Probably not. They probably would go after their like young players. Look, if you're the Warriors and you can manage to keep Steph and Draymond just because they're old and the other team doesn't want them, give up your young core and then put Giannis with Steph and Draymond. That 1 year that you have all 3 of them. Hey,
you know what? Damn all that loyalty shit. If I was a GM of the Warriors, hey man, Steph is the only one that's off limits. You want Draymond? Come get his ass. I don't care.
I'm saying that because I don't think they would want Draymond. So I'm saying like you keep him because he's too old to trade away, and then you have 1 year with Steph, Draymond, and Giannis together.
Yeah,
and then like to anybody, right? Like Wiggins, whatever.
Yeah.
And then one crazy push.
Yeah,
for a final ring. That would be kind of cool.
I hear you. But now we'll see what the NBA has in store. Let's get up out of here, man. It's 2 hours. I know Randy got to get ready for a long day tomorrow. I know I do. But hey, man, this was fun as always. Y'all know where to catch Randy. You need some audio needs, Panther on Acid. You did. All right. Y'all know where to find me. Twitter, Casey Wildcard Mar. All right. I.O.W Sports Network. All right. I like, share, subscribe. And until the next time, man. Y'all know what it is. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Hey, man, we out of here. Peace.
Yeah. Silent Hill TDS, what's up? Yeah. Come on. I.O.W Sports Network, late night edition. Let's go. Come on.
We about to raise the bar. Wild card Mar. Everybody grab a seat, cause you know we about to spark. Late night sports talk. Modelo Le Cigar. Man, you don't wanna start. Wild card Mar. We about to